Imagine for a moment that your big goal in life is to be like a rock, you know, solid, dependable, unchanging. And you spend years, maybe your whole life, trying to carve out who you are, your beliefs, into granite, fighting against, well, everything that moves, time, feelings, just striving for stability. But the truth is, and it's kind of a fundamental truth about how we work psychologically, it's actually much more, humbling than that. And maybe more beautiful, too. The lesson's right there, really, written across the sky. We're just not made of stone. So today we're doing a deep dive right into the fabric of our emotional selves, our survival even, trying to synthesize some insights on why it so often feels like we're just fighting ourselves. We want to understand, really understand the true architecture of the human spirit and the mission. To maybe trade that illusion, that idea of fixed positions, for the freedom that comes with, well, fluidity.
Exactly. And recognizing that starts with really taking on board a simple metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
We are basically made of moods. Your spirit, that deep sense of who you are, it's always moving, always. Like think about weather fronts just constantly rolling across this huge temperamental sky. You get a beautiful, clear day, that feeling of certainty, right? But you know it's going to be followed by, I don't know, a heavy low-pressure system eventually. It's inevitable. And the big mistake, the one we all make, frankly, every single day, is trying to be that fixed, granted identity. We act as if saying things like, okay, this is what I believe, or this is who I like, or this is definitely what I want. Someone makes it permanent, like etching it in concrete. We just forget we're fundamentally made of, well, air and vapor, not concrete.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the cosmic joke comes in, isn't it? It feels like the universe just sort of chuckles when we try too hard to be solid. Because the second you declare yourself perfectly rational or totally fixed in your opinion, some really mundane, undeniable bodily thing comes along and just flips the whole table over.
Oh,
Think about it, right? Those physical things that just completely destabilize your deepest thoughts. A sudden awful headache.
yeah.
Or maybe you only got like 2 hours of broken sleep. Or that indigestion that starts bubbling up right after dinner. Or it could be the opposite, an unexpected rush of endorphins maybe, or a sudden inconvenient burst of conscience about something. And poof, everything you were so sure about an hour ago, it's all shaky again.
It's fascinating, isn't it? That almost comedic interplay between our, let's call them higher faculties, our thinking mind, our philosophy,
Also feel.
and our basic plumbing, our gut, our hormones, our neurology. It's all connected.
Totally.
We love to think our big opinions on politics or love or the meaning of life are built on this really solid, disinterested, rational ground, guided by the noble parts of us.
But what you're saying is that nobility might just be a fancy dress for biochemistry. We think we're having profound thoughts, but really we're just feeling a bit off.
That's a huge part of it, yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting and honestly profoundly humbling. We often just fail to grasp the shocking extent to which our deepest convictions, the things we feel most strongly about at any given moment, are simply the temporary result of something incredibly ordinary, like how much decent REM sleep did you actually get?
Yeah.
Or what precisely is happening with your blood sugar levels right now?
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's actually kind of embarrassing to think back on how many times I've maybe put off a big decision or felt totally hopeless about something when maybe I just needed a glass of water or, a sandwich. It's the ultimate self-deception, isn't it?
It really is.
And the most vivid example, the one that really hits home, is when we find ourselves just solemnly declaring that life is meaningless, utterly convinced,
Yes.
hopeless, futile, stuck in despair. This isn't worth the struggle. You feel it in your bones.
You make this huge philosophical pronouncement. It feels like an existential crisis of the highest order, right? And it happens long before it even occurs to you that, maybe I urgently need a nap. Or perhaps I should just, reach for an orange juice.
Yeah.
That whole grand, fixed despair. It might have just been a blood sugar dip pretending to be deep philosophy.
That moment of realization, wait, I'm not fundamentally broken, I'm just hungry. That's the big aha moment, isn't it? About how fragile the self really is.
Absolutely. That's the moment.
Okay, so if we accept this, that we're fundamentally, biologically just changeable, then managing that volatility becomes, well, essential. We need some kind of tool, right, to allow for the change without letting ourselves just completely dissolve into chaos.
And that tool, the most effective one perhaps, is simply proceeding with a kind of radical humility. It's about applying this humble, essential little caveat for now. Applying it to, well, the vast majority of our strongly held positions, our emotional states, even how we define ourselves.
Okay, but let me push back on that a little. Because for some people, that might sound like just giving up, like surrender. It doesn't saying for now about, say, your core values or your partner or your career path. Doesn't that risk leading to some kind of, I don't know, crippling cynicism? Where does commitment even fit in if everything is just for now?
That's a really important question, and a fair one. But this isn't about cynicism. It's more like high-level biological realism, practical realism. You apply the caveat not to get rid of commitment, but actually to make that commitment flexible enough, resilient enough to survive a mood swing or a bad night's sleep.
Oh, okay.
When you use it internally, you're kind of protecting yourself and your commitments from your own temporary certainty, which can be pretty damaging sometimes. It's like, this job seems to make enormous sense and feels fulfilling for now. Or, I feel like I've finally worked things out with my partner for now. Or even, this is who I am and what I truly believe for now.
It adds a layer of perspective.
Exactly. It fosters a kind of psychological mastery because you recognize that none of us, not one, is ever more than maybe a few shifts in serotonin levels or oxytocin away from a complete transformation of heart, a total flip. And if our identity is designed to be that fragile, that dynamic, well then flexibility, the ability to hold a belief strongly but lightly becomes our greatest strength, our most sustainable strength, really.
And what's really kind of beautiful about that is how realizing this in ourselves almost immediately makes us more generous towards other people, towards the people we live with and care about.
Yeah.
If we can start to see the internal weather in ourselves, it makes us far less likely to, misjudge the storms happening inside the people around us.
Completely.
We've all been there, haven't we? Someone you love tells you something with just utter conviction. Maybe it's midnight, you're both tired standing in the kitchen, and they say they hate their job, or they hate your guts, or they never want to see their mother again. It sounds so absolute, so final.
And in the past, maybe we took that midnight statement as like immutable fact. This is it. This is their deep, fixed, permanent truth being revealed. But the key insight here, the shift, is recognizing that their conviction, however fierce it feels in that moment, might just be, well, a transient weather system passing through their internal landscape.
A storm passing through.
It might simply be that, they've had maybe one glass of wine too many, or it's way past their bedtime. Or maybe that heavy meal they ate late is causing discomfort that's just leaking out into their worldview. It happens.
Right. It's not necessarily their soul speaking. It's their digestion or their fatigue.
Precisely. Understanding that we are all just this patchy, shifting collection of moods,
Yeah.
it fundamentally changes how we react to what others say and do. We can stop judging their core being based on a temporary state and maybe start thinking more about the atmospheric conditions instead.
It lets you step back and almost apply that for now to their big declaration too, doesn't it? Mentally, at least.
Yes, it does.
But this awareness, this idea of inner weather, it's also incredibly crucial for managing ourselves, right? Especially during those really low points. When you feel like you just can't see a single sliver of blue in your own inner sky, and you're absolutely convinced you never will again. That feeling of permanence in misery. When you're stuck deep in that pit, and the conviction that you'll never be happy again or productive or okay, when that feels totally absolute, that's precisely when you need this quiet, almost stubborn wisdom of just waiting, trusting the process. We have to learn to just sit within that inner jet stream, as the source material calls it, that continuous moving internal current. Sit there long enough.
You don't even need to know what will make you happy right now. You don't need the exact recipe or the solution for how to shift your condition. You just need the wisdom, born from experience probably, to know that if you just wait, something will eventually come along. A new front will move in. The pressure will change. There'll be some chemical shift. Something will happen to push those horrors, that fixed feeling gloom, away. You just have to trust the movement itself.
Trust the movement. I like that.
But, and this is important for balance, there's a flip side. A somber reminder we also need to hold on to. For those moments when we reach the peak of happiness, right? That sunlit certainty where you genuinely cannot imagine why you were ever sad before.
Yeah.
That's precisely when we need to remember the autumn gales, as it were. Remember the inevitability of change. The low mood isn't gone forever. It's not defeated. It's just resting.
Yeah.
And it will inevitably return eventually, just to prove again that the inner weather system is always cyclical, always moving.
So don't get too attached to the sunshine and don't despair too much in the rain, because both will pass.
That's the essence of it.
It seems like our biggest stumbling block then, the thing that causes so much unnecessary pain, is just that tendency we have to declare too quickly, too definitively.
Right.
This is me. and this is how it will always be.
Yes, that premature certainty.
But it's almost never permanent, is it? That feeling, whether it's glorious happiness or awful despair, it's usually just a heat wave, or a sudden squall, a brief shower, or maybe a beautiful fleeting Indian summer in the mind.
Lovely analogy.
We desperately want to be solid stone. We crave it. But the fundamental design, the reality of our being, seems to be just air and water, gas and heat,
Yeah.
current and front.
And that contrast is where the freedom lies, paradoxically. We want fixity, but we are defined by flux. So embracing that fluidity, really accepting it, means understanding that your highest truth today might just be a temporary atmospheric condition tomorrow. And that's okay.
So after this whole deep dive, how should you, the listener, proceed? What's the final sort of actionable attitude to take away from all this? Perhaps it's this. Take most of what you believe, what you feel, what you are convinced of, at any single specific moment. Take it with a kind of wholehearted but also deeply self-aware and maybe even highly amused skepticism.
Amused skepticism, I like that. It captures the lightness needed. And maybe a final thought to carry with you. Always carry an umbrella.
Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically, yes. Not just for the actual rain outside, but for those inevitable internal squalls that are coming to reshape your convictions again and again. Because preparedness, combined with that sense of amusement about the whole changeable nature of things, well, that might just be the highest form of wisdom when you're dealing with an identity made of moods.
Because the weather.
Internal and external
Yeah.
is always shifting.